Good evening, hello, and welcome everyone. We welcome you to our brand new episode of Elets Innovation Talk. I am Vishwas Sinha, sub-editor at Elets Technomedia, India's leading and the largest B2B multimedia platform, proudly celebrating 22 years of the excellence. For over 2 decades, Elets Technomedia has spearheaded transformative summits, driving innovation across governance, healthcare, education, and banking and finance sectors. Our Elets Innovation Talk is our dedicated to spotlight trailblazing leaders and their groundbreaking contributions across industries. And today we are very much excited to host a leader whose unique opportunity to approach staffing, strategic insights, and commitment to solving challenges in hiring and employee retention who have made it easy and a significant impact on India's workforce landscape. Mr. Kartik Narayan, CEO, Staffing, TeamLease Services Limited. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So in order to brief about Mr. Kartik is the CEO of TeamLease Service, leading charge to transform the staffing industry with innovative solutions that address key challenges such as talent acquisitions, attrition, and productivity. With a strategic mindset and a passion for driving growth, Kartik has partnered with major enterprises to create a tailored solution that elevate workforce management. Before TeamLease, Mr. Kartik was the EVP and the National Head of Strategic Accounts and Vodafone Idea, where he played a pivotal role in driving commercial successes and strategic development. His vast experience spans across the leadership roles at prominent companies like Cisco India, Riverbed Technologies, and Airtel, where he has established new operations and drove sales across multiple regions, including South India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and United States. So thank you so much again for joining us today, Mr. Kartik. It's really an honor to have you today with us.
Thank you, Vishwas.
So I guess we can just start our conversation with, right? So Mr. Kartik, firstly, I would like to know in current BFSI landscape and BFSI industry, what is the current employment and hiring landscape in this BFSI sector is currently pursuing in India?
Yeah, I think first of all, amongst many things, one has to understand that India is a services heavy country when it comes to employment. So disproportionate number of people are employed in the services sector, which is roughly about 50-55%. Then followed by manufacturing, and then of course followed by agriculture, right? So you can place that about 20% for manufacturing, the balance for agriculture, and so on and so forth. In the service sector, a large part of the people are employed in banking finance, and if you look at the banking finance sector, we'll have to really take a little bit of step back and see it over a longer period of time. And I would specifically say to Q3 of FY24. Right? And when I say Q3 FY24, we are talking about October, November, December of 2020, the calendar year 2023. If you look at it, at that point in time, you will notice that, RBI came out with some very strong strictures about unsecured loans. I think unsecured loans were taking, big fashion, ticket size less than 50,000. And then, there was genuine concern which came from RBI, and they put a kind of pause to it. Subsequently, if you remember, there were also some strictures passed against, MFIs. Then I think there were concerns which were expressed, on even, credit card sales, etc. All that. What we have seen over the last 18 months is some of these, concerns which have been raised leading up to, I would say, Q3 of FY25 has resulted in a degree of slowdown, which has kind of taken place as far as banking finance is concerned. So what used to be, and I would say FY23 and FY24, nearly a double-digit, manpower growth, especially in the contract staffing space that TeamLease kind of addresses. I think that kind of came down to nearly, single-digit and largely replacement, hiring which was taking place. But what we are expecting now is, I think a number of actions have taken place that you would have seen. One is, weightages have been reduced as far as some of these loans are concerned for NBFCs. Then obviously we are expecting a good monsoon, season to happen in Q1. We are also expecting, saying some amount of impact will happen because of the reduction in income tax which will kick it, from April 1st, and therefore spending will start. We expect that all of this is going to have a positive impact in all kinds of, roles which the banking and finance industry has, whether it is credit card, home loans, personal loans, vehicle loans, so on and so forth.
Right.
Said that, some of this impact is really going to happen starting Q1. What we have seen in Q4, which is the immediate quarter, which has concluded, which is Jan, Feb, March, is that there's definitely been subdued demand, especially when it comes to, vehicle loans, and personal loans both. So we are not out of the woods. I think we've kind of traversed the journey over the last 18 months, but I'm expecting, basis, some of the new, steps which have been taken both by the RBI and the income tax one for, growth and subsequently, new role hiring to expand in the banking finance space.
Okay. That's perfectly explained, sir. Thank you so much for that. And because quite past last year, yes, you have said we have seen, seeing a huge amount of unsecured loans. You have also mentioned that, and and in that sort of area and that sort of landscape, there is still a good employment and landscape which is required in the BFSI sector. That's what currently TeamLease is providing, I guess.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, sir. So now I would like to ask, so how is the demand for the talent and specifically in BFSI sector has evolved over the last few years? I mean, not comparatively only the last year, but yeah, quite past few years. How the demand for the talent has increased?
Yeah, if you take a really longer period of time, then what you notice is that essentially especially post COVID, I think would be the right figure for us to kind of look at. Post 2020, we are in 2025, so we can take a 5-year period. I think definitely the first 2-3 years, which is 2021, 22, post COVID, there was huge expansion which was taking place. In fact, one might say that the expansion and the takeoff of loans, obviously in many cases, distressed loans, I would say, people were on their second and third loan, and that's why the RBI switches came through, was some of the reason why in FY24, RBI came down and wanted to be slightly more conservative with respect to how these loans are being dispersed, right? Yes. Anyway, in the first years, I think there was significant, uptick which took place across everywhere, whether it was credit card, personal loans, home loans, vehicular loans. I think, all if you really look at the banking finance sector, the fintech space, I think some of the new insurtech, all of those spaces really took off, right? Subsequently, I would say, especially in the last 2 years, the shift which has taken place is obviously, the expectation is urban is still a bit subdued. Rural, hopefully, will take off a little bit. But I think everybody is focused on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, or even in this case, tier 3, tier 4 cities, as companies are planning for more financial inclusion, right? And build a little bit more, penetration into underserved markets. So our expectation is a lot more employment opportunities will really come up in tier 3, tier 4 cities, and that's what most companies are focusing on in the BFSI space.
Okay. Yes, that is perfectly explained, sir. I mean, with the rising, technology into the BFSI sector and the fintech, basically we have mentioned about, significantly has, opened the new gateways for the employees as well, so that people can present their talent over there as well. So I guess you have perfectly explained that, how over the years BFSI landscape has, evolved specifically to fintech world, and insurtech and regtech and many kind of the things have taken place, and that's what surged the demand for the talent into it, and perfectly explained by you. Thank you so much. And now I would like to ask about, are there any specific job roles or the profile that are seeing higher demand in the BFSI sector currently? Some basic, if you can just point out.
Yeah, sure, Vishwas. I think a couple of things which are taking place. See, one is in the services space in banking finance, the number one role which has always been in huge demand has been the sales role. Okay, so that has been the top contributor in the sector, across all kinds of services, whether it is in the fintech space or, it's been, in the loan space home loan, personal loan, vehicular loan, I think the sales profile has been the one which has been a huge demand. And we have seen consistent surge taking place. I think of late, because of the last two reasons I mentioned previously, that the delinquency has been rising, which is your non-performing assets, right? Because the percentages have been slightly going up. I think some of the demand which is coming our way is really coming in terms of, collection officers, right?
Yes.
So people who go up and do, collection of outstanding. A lot more telecalling profiles are also kind of coming our way.
Okay.
Relationship officers, especially in the last 1 year plus. And most of this to delinquency in the credit card and retail lending products. So frontline and entry-level roles, slight shift which is taking place. But the other aspect which is also taking place, which we can see, is shift into technology and other hybrid roles. So some of the banks have also come to realize, saying that a lot more roles going into the future will be tech roles, which will further enable some of these banking and finance companies to compete in the space where fintechs are now rapidly gaining space, and also more importantly, really being able to tech enable themselves for scale, right? So we are seeing some of the demands, especially on the core employee side, coming for data analytics, AI and machine learning that we've been speaking about so much, cybersecurity, which is such an important aspect to kind of give confidence to people who engage with the banking system, and of course, blockchain has been there for a while, cloud and so on and so forth. So on the tech side, that's what's happening. On the softer side, sales and also relationship managers, particularly they are being sought after by mutual funds and wealth management companies.
Okay. All right, sir. Yeah, that is perfectly explained. Along with the changes and the growth of the BFSI sector, some specific roles are, also emerging, but the previous ones are getting even more enhanced and getting the more opportunity. So yeah, that's the really good takeout from there. Okay, thank you, sir. And so now I would like to know what kind of the impact, has digital transformation, like previously we have mentioned about AI has entered everywhere in each and every sector. How has digital transformation and the evolving technology, how is the sector adapting to it?
Yeah, so I think few things. See, digital transformation is fundamentally, reshaped, banking in the way we kind of interact with, right? I mean, how many of us remember, going to bank in the way we used to do in the past, right? I think that's completely changed now, and larger reason is obviously there is paperless eKYC. There's a lot of operational automation. You pretty much can bank everything, from your mobile phone. There is hardly any need now with UPI to even go to an ATM, right? There are digital lending platforms. You hardly have to even give any physical paperwork to be able to do that. And then, of course, there's a lot more blockchain AI which is coming into credit dispersal as well, right? So it's brought about a major shift in the way banking systems have adopted technology and the way they're interacting with customers, and also subsequently its impact on people whom they hire for, right, to be able to do some of these things. So what we are seeing is clearly banks and financial institutions are now operating more like technology companies. They are prioritizing innovation, data-driven decision making, and of course, most importantly, everything is being done to enhance customer experience. Now, adoption of AI, blockchain, like he spoke about, cloud computing, cybersecurity, is driving demand for tech-focused roles and hybrid roles. We spoke about this earlier as well. That is one thing which is taking place more importantly. The other important thing is the rise of fintech and digital transactions has really expanded, banking access and inclusive growth, as we call it, right? Today, in most major cities, even for the smallest of transaction, you can just use UPI and go by. There is no really currency exchange which is taking place.
Yes.
And so therefore, two things. One is obviously people who are being hired. The digital transformation is, affecting the kind of roles which are being hired for, largely high-tech roles. Also, of course, companies are now really spending time in upskilling and reskilling of their traditional employees because of the shift which is taking place towards digital automation. And of course, the final thing is, because of insurtech, fintech, neo banking, etc., and all that, all of this is also kind of giving birth to new roles.
Okay. Yes, that is the perfect explanation of it. Thank you, sir. And with the driving technology and with the given, the sector AI which is developing into the BFSI, the hiring patterns and each and everything has to adapt itself in order to get the better results out of it. So I think that is perfectly explained by you, sir. And now moving forward, I would like to know what are the skill sets and that are now considered essential for an aspirant, to looking into enter to or grow into the BFSI sector. So what are the essential aspects you guys see before hiring anyone?
Yeah, I think that a good starting point, Vishwas, for all of us to think about this is in terms of how it used to be earlier. So earlier, if you remember, for many frontline roles, people used to give the banking probationary officer, roles, right?
Yes.
And individuals used to join after, graduation, get trained in a host of internal operational stuff and then progress.
Yes.
I think now a number of things, especially in the private, banking space is changing. Earlier, freshers from any stream, were preferred. Idea was to ensure that, there is somebody manning the counter, right, so to speak.
Yes.
But now, clients need their candidates to have some basic flow of financial terminologies, right?
Yes.
Some understanding, I think that's very good, very important. Also, analytical skills, understanding of risk, so risk management skills, communication is obviously from a software perspective very important. Basic technology proficiency is also equally important. Software skills, customer service etiquette, and of course, if you have done for a slightly mid to senior role, if you have regulatory knowledge, and I think it's all of this is really a preferred starting point. But most importantly, I think more hybrid capability, ability to bridge finance and technology are some of the more preferred skills for individuals who want to kind of join this space.
Yes, that is perfectly explained. How we can talk about the earlier times and how this has evolved. Yes, we can completely look into it, like how the hiring culture is evolved right now. So that's really well explained by you, sir. Thank you so much. And moving forward, I would like to know how are the companies in BFSI sector addressing the skill gap challenge, basically. And because reskilling or upskilling is really become the necessary part for every organization and for every individual. So how does these initiatives becoming the mainstream of Indian hiring sector?
Yeah, so you're right, Vishwas. I think organizations are increasingly focusing on upskilling and reskilling existing employees, obviously because to meet the changing demands of the industry. And this is happening more as more financial companies are moving towards, digital literacy, and the job specifically demands them to have knowledge of the same. So multiple training sessions, we are seeing career progression path, and an overall culture of, learning is being put across. So one is from a reskilling, upskilling program perspective, many organizations are investing in robust, training programs, particularly in digital finance and technology, right? So I think that's one specific area that everybody's focusing about. Cybersecurity and a culture of security in itself is being propagated across the entire employee base. Second thing is also focus on partnerships and certification. So sponsoring employees for some sort of a higher education in terms of certification, whether it is AI or ESG and other specialized topics which taking place. Third, of course, diversity as well. Focused, attempts to really be able to attract talent from diverse backgrounds and geographies, especially as, banking finance is really moving into tier 3, tier 4 cities, right? So there's a certain dearth of talent and it is not always possible to have urban folks go into some of these locations. So I think the industry is also expanding upon the talent pool that they're tapping into.
Yes. All right. So that is really well explained, sir. How far we are going in order to upskill and reskill the existing employment and the people who are currently working, and so they can get the better result for the organization and for themselves as well. So that's perfectly well explained, sir. Thank you. And At last, sir, I would want to know, like, what are some of the key challenges the employer are facing in recruitment and retention, to be specific?
Yeah, so number of them, some of them are common across different industries, but if I have to really sum it up for the banking finance sector, number one is obviously skill gap. The rapid pace of technological change which is taking place is far outstripping the availability of talent with the necessary hybrid skills. So, like we spoke about earlier, individuals used to join the workforce and used to kind of learn on the job, but now the expectation is really that apart from the soft skills, which is basic horizontal, everybody's expected to have.
Yes.
Can the individuals have knowledge of some amount of technology, some amount of regulatory aspects, and of course customer etiquette skills are really important. So skill gap is the number one challenge that employers are facing. They're not getting enough skilled people. Second thing is attrition. Again, not very different from the first point. Because of the sheer demand in this space and the hunger to expand as economy is improving, attrition rates have really shot through the roof, and this was also kind of brought out by the RBI as a matter of concern. In the contract space, attrition is as high as 7 to 10% a month. So you can imagine, literally 100% of the workforce is getting attrited, and hence at the pace we are growing, this is unsustainable. And most companies are really looking to see how we can look at stabilizing entry-level workforce in the banking and finance space. The third challenge is, the talent for especially IT, banking and finance companies have to really compete with the tech sectors, right, for digital talent. That's also a really important, aspect. And the final part, I would say not just the final part, I think one more part would be there is really, geographical diversification, right? So they are getting talent in urban cities, but what happens to tier 3, tier 4? I think we have to tap into a broader talent pool to be able to, go across. Finally, there are existing employees and newer employees coming through. So some amount of workforce adaptation to ensure saying some of the existing employees are also adapting to new technologies and business models. And of course, training for that is the ongoing thing, within the banking finance sector. So no one particular problem that the employer is facing, I think a range of problems to address for as they are trying to grow.
Yes. I think, yes, sir, these challenges are, are also how BFSI sector and every sector of Indian economy has been developing right now. And these are something which we can really focus on, and we can, by making it good enough, we can embark upon a good journey, and promoting more good kind of the skill sets into the world and India as well. So really great. Thank you so much for the information, sir. And while going, sir, I would just like to know a little bit of, a piece of exclusive information from your end that you want to share exclusively, that you hadn't shared on any media platform. I just wanted you so that you can, present something about the Indian BFSI sector for our viewers especially. So is there anything you would like to put the light on?
I can from a directional perspective, what I can share, Vishwas, is that I think the last 18 months has been a bit of a low phase for the banking finance sector. I think we've pretty much hit the rock bottom. I think the part that I'm very confident about is now recruitment will take up. What I'm obviously not able to forecast is whether it will be Q1, Q2, or pretty much in Q3, Q4. But the good part is the financial year has started from April, and I'm reasonably confident that we'll have a robust Q1, but more importantly, with a good monsoon, hiring will pick up, which has really been subdued, for the last 18 months.
Okay. That's really great, sir. Thank you so much, for providing all the necessary insights. And so that is the basic purpose of, having the Elets Innovation Talk, so that our viewers and, each and everyone who is, currently watching this can, get the good idea of it and how basically practically the world is working right now, specifically in BFSI sector. And I would also want my viewers, in order if they want anything, so they can, drop down into the comment box and ask Mr. Kartik Narayan as well, ask about anything about, relating to this from our Elets team as well. So, and thank you so much again, Mr. Kartik Narayan, sir. We are. So it was a great session, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vishwas.